Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the lecture number 12 for the course of electronics. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali and I'm your instructor for this course. So today's topic will be regarding this power amplifiers. In the last class we have discussed about the common base amplifier. You can see that we have in the previous lectures we have discussed about the common collector, common base and common emitter amplifier, and we also discussed about the cascaded amplifier, that how you can connect multiple amplifiers to one another and how their gains will be added or multiplied in added in the decibels or multiplied in the decimals. So in continuation to that, we are now going towards the power amplifiers. These are also the same amplifiers, but these amplifiers are mostly used with the name of different ones. The first one is known as the class A amplifier, and the second one is class B amplifier, and the last one will be class C amplifier. So we will be discussing class A in today's lecture, inshallah. So the class A power amplifier. So when amplifier is biased, or you can say biased, in such a way that it always operates in a linear region. You know that we also discussed about the linear amplifier as well before the common collector, common base and common emitter. So if you made amplifier bias in such a way that it operates in that linear region, and the output is the amplified version or amplified replica of the input signal, it is basically a class A amplifier. So the linear amplifier which we discussed was actually a class A amplifier. Power amplifiers are those amplifiers that have the objective to delivering power to a load. So it means that you have to amplify the overall power. You know that some of the amplifiers that we discussed were trying to amplify the voltage, some was trying to amplify the gain, but we require such a amplifier which basically transfers you can say deliver the power to the load. This means the components must be considered in terms of their ability to dissipate heat. In a small signal amplifier, the AC signal moves over a small percentage of total AC load line. When the output of signal is larger and the appropriate limits of the AC load line, the amplifier is basically known as the large signal type. Both large signal and small signal amplifiers are considered to be A class if they operate only in the linear region all the time. So if you know that to be a class A type of amplifier, the system or the amplifier needs to be operate at these linear regions all the times. It's not that it operates as a linear region at some points of time, but for all the times. So similarly, class A amplifiers are large signal amplifier with the objectives of providing power rather than voltage to a load. I've told you that in spite of rather than a voltage or current individually, we actually consider power as a main thing, and we need to deliver that power to a load. So as a rule of thumb, an amplifier may be considered to be a power amplifier if it is rated more than 1 watt. So this is your power amplifier. You see that this is basically nothing but the voltage gain. We have applied some input and we have multiplied some voltage gain over here, and the output is, this is your output, and this is basically your output is been amplified, and this amplified version is basically this is the amplified replica of the same input. You can see that there is also a phase change over here. You can see that this thing is now being shifted in the downward, and this crest is basically in the trough. You can see that this thing has now gone on the upper hand side. So you can see there is a phase shift of 180 degree as well over here. So centered Q point. Recall that the DC and AC load lines intersect at the Q point, the quotient point that we discussed in the previous two lectures we discussed. And when this quotient point or Q point is at the center of this AC load line, a maximum class A signal can be obtained. So if you want to have a maximum efficiency of a class A, you have to put this Q point at the center of this AC load line. You see in this concept by examining the graph of the AC load line of a given amplifier in figure 2. You can see that this is your AC load line, this is your AC load line, and this pink one is your DC load line. Wherever they intersect, this is your Q point. and you see that this is a Q point and it is in the center. So it means that this is the maximum class A output when Q point is centered at the AC load line. Whenever this Q point is basically shifted on the above and the on the downward direction on the below side, it always this compromises on the efficiency of the amplifier. So to be more amplified or to be more efficient amplifier, this Q point needs to be on the center of the AC load line. Similarly, you can see that this is basically the figure 2, and it is showing that the maximum class A output occurs only when Q point is centered on the AC line. You can see that, and this is Q point is centered on the AC line, and this is your input. So you see that this is your output, and this is nothing but the phase shift of a phase shift and amplified version of the same input. If the Q point is not centered, let's say this Q point is not centered on the AC load line, the output signal is limited. You see that this output will be limited signal. This won't be a most efficient or most best, or you can say the best version of the amplified version. But figure 3 shows that the AC load line with the Q point moved away from the center towards the cutoff. You can say that if this load, let's say instead of this Q point is now shifted on this side, let's say, so you see that the output is now being limited. This is not a much improvement in the input amplification of the inputs. In the case like this, it was a maximum increase, it was the best or you can say the maximum efficiency of the input signal amplification. Let's say this Q point is now brought more closer to the cutoff region. So you see that this point will be clipped away at the cutoff, because you know that this thing will be now chipped off, or you can say clipped off. So this signal, you will be losing the signal as well. So some of the signal will also be lost as well. Similarly, if you move this Q point more down, this is also the input signal will also be chopped down, or you can say clipped as well, because of this cutoff line. This will be a cutoff line VC. You see that VC, this is the cutoff line, so this will also be chopped down. Figure 4 shows that an AC load line with Q point moved away from the center towards saturation. In this case, the output variation is limited by saturation. The collector current can only swing up near to the saturation or an equal amount below this ICQ. The collector to emitter voltage can only swing down to its saturation value and the equal amount of above with this voltage across collector to emitter at the Q point. This situation is illustrated in figure 4. I will show you this. You can see that this, when you take this Q point above at this saturation point, you will see that this thing will be limited. Amplitude of VCE, this VCE and IC will be limited because of the saturation. So this is also not a good point. If you want to take maximum efficiency from a class A amplifier, you always need to have this Q point at the center actually, instead of below or above that point. Now you see, if you take this point more above this saturation point, the above portion will be chipped off. You can see that this is clipped off as well. Similarly, this portion will be clipped off as well. So you see, this is not a very good methodology, or you can say implementation to apply the amplification. Now let's talk about the power gain. A power amplifier delivers power to a load, and we are discussing about the power amplification now in spite of this voltage and current. So the power gain of an amplifier is the ratio of the output power delivered, that power that is delivered to the load, to the input power. In general, you can say that power delivered to a load to the ratio of this power, that is the input power. You get this total power gain. So this AP is power gain. This PL is basically power delivered to the load, and this P in is basically the signal power delivered to the amplifier. How much power you give to the amplifier and how much power is delivered to the load. This is basically the ratio of there is known as the power gain, and the power gain can be computed by many formulas. There are several formulas depending upon what is known, and the easiest for easiest way to obtain power gain is from the input resistance, the load resistance, and the voltage gain. If you know these things, you can get easily this thing. You can see that this is how it is done, where you represent the power in terms of voltage and resistance. If you know about the voltage gain and the output resistance, you can calculate the power as well. So for the AC power, the voltage is expressed as terms of RMS. You know that this is not the peak value, this is not the average value, and this is not the maximum value. This is the RMS value, that is root mean square value. So the output power is delivered to the load is the maximum power, that is V square of L divided by R. The voltage of the load that is delivered to the load and to the ratio of this resistive the load of that resistor of that load. So the input power must be delivered to the amplifier. So the input power delivered to the amplifier will be P in will be equal to this input voltage square divided by the input resistance. So the overall power gain will be, you know that the overall power gain formula is equal to the PL divided by the P in. So you know that the formula for the power gain is equal to the load delivered to the power delivered to the load divided by the power the input of the amplifier. So if you put the values of PL over here, this is the PL, and you put the value of P in over here, this is the value of the PN, you will get this equation. And if you see that there is this V L, this is basically, this thing will be going into the denominator, and this thing will be coming into the numerator. So this equation becomes VL square Rn divided by V in square into Rn. Now you know that VL divided by V in is basically nothing but the power gain. So you can say that the amplified, you can say that the power gain is equal to the voltage gain square multiplied with the ratio of the input resistance to the power resistive load. This AP is basically your power gain. This is your power gain. This is your voltage gain. This AV is basically your voltage gain. This Rin is your input resistance, and this PRL is equal to your load resistors. So this is the overall formula for the power gain. Now let's talk about this DC quotient power. This a power dissipation of a transistor with no input signal. This is very important. With no input signal is the product of its Q point current and voltage. So this DC this PDQ, that is power at DC quotient, will be equal to ICQ and VCEQ, that voltage at the quotient point and the current at the quotient point, the collector current at the quotient point and the collector to emitter voltage at the quotient point. So this, by multiplying this, you can get this PDQ, or you can say this quotient DC quotient power. The only way to for a class A amplifier that can supply a power to a load is to maintain a quotient current that is at least as large as the peak of the current requirement for the load current. So the load, if requires, let's say 1 ampere, so the minimum power peak for the quotient point should be equal to 1 ampere. AC signal will not increase the power dissipated by the transistor, but actually causes less total power to be dissipated. The DC quotient power that is given in the equation 3 is the maximum power that a class A amplifier can handle. And what is that? That is, you can see that 0.5. No, sorry, this is 0.25. This efficiency is 25%. This is the maximum capacity or capability. We will talk about that. So let's talk about the output power. So the output power is nothing but you can see that the maximum power for the collector is basically the quotient current multiplied by the RC, and you know that the maximum value of RMS is 0.707. If you put this value into that equation, you will get, and after solving this for a class amplifier, then the mathematics and abbreviation has been done over here. I think that you are quite enough able now to understand this derivation, because I have done 3 or 4 times of the same derivation in the previous amplifiers. So I will leave it up to you. The maximum output power turns out to be 0.5 into the quotient, DC quotient current, and the DC quotient voltage, that is voltage of collector to emitter at the quotient point. So the maximum output power is the product of these 3 terms. Now to find the efficiency of this class A amplifier, the first thing that you need to do is basically you have to find the ICC and the VCC, and you know that this ICC is nothing but this thing. So if you find out the value of this efficiency of this class amplifier, you have to find out the power at the output and the power delivered to the DC or DC quotient power. So if you found out the value of this power output is nothing but this 0.5 into ICQ into VCEQ. So this is the same, and PDC is nothing but 2IQ into VCQ. So you have put this thing over here, and if you multiply, then this all things will be cancelled out. Only 0.5 divided by 2 will be remain, and if you do this equation, you will get 0.25. This means the maximum efficiency of a capacity coupled class A amplifier cannot be higher than 0.25, or you can say 25%. In practice, it is usually considered less than 10%. You see, this is very much non-satisfying for us, because the efficiency of such a class A amplifier is not that much. It is only theoretically 25%, but practically this is less than 10%. So it is not a good kind of amplifier, but it is enough to understand or to say to bring the knowledge out, the foundation, to learn about the foundation of the working of an amplifier. Let's talk about the last thing, that is numerical on the class A amplifier. You know that at the end of every class I do a numerical for you, so that you are able to understand the phenomena that is behind these things. So we have to determine the efficiency of a power amplifier in the figure below. You see that this is the amplifier that is shown to us, and this is our output speaker, and the load of RL will be 8 ohm, and there are several resistors that are being involved in here. There are several capacitors as well, and these are transistors as well. So the first thing that we have to find is basically we have to find the input power. So the input power is nothing but the input voltage multiplied by the input resistance. Input resistance is 8.4 kilo ohm, and input, you can see that input resistance is 8.4 kilo ohm. And how do we do that? We basically solve this. You see that this is your, you take this into the parallel. After you take this into the parallel, the equivalent resistance will be turned out to be 8.4 kilo ohm. I'll leave it up to you. So the input resistance turned out to be 8.4 kilo ohm, and the input voltage is basically 35.4 milli RMS, because you know that the input voltage peak was 50. That was peak to peak. It is mentioned that it is peak to peak. So if you divide this 50 milli onto the under square root of 2, you get the RMS value. So the RMS value is nothing but 34.5, I guess, 35.4. 35.4 is the RMS value. So if you divide this RMS to the RN, you get the input power, and that is 149 nanowatt. So it is a very minute power. Let's find out the output power. So the output power is equal to the input power multiplied by the power gain. So it is mentioned that the power gain is this much, and the input power, we know that the input power is 149. We found out that. So the output power will be 122 milliwatt. So we now got the input power, we now got the output power. Now next thing that we need, we are going towards, is basically, you see that most of the power from the DC source is supplied to the output stage. The current in the output switch can be computed from the DC emitter voltage of that is Q3. So voltage at emitter of Q3 will be equal to if you apply the voltage divider rule, you can see that this is your Q3 and it is connected with the 12 ohm. So if you want to find out the value at this point, at the voltage of value of voltage at this point, it will be equal to 22 divided by 22 plus something. And what is that something? 22 plus this 22 and this 22 plus this thing. So it becomes 27.6 over here, 22 plus 5. So and multiplied by this power, that is 12 volt minus 1.4. What is why this is minus 1.4? You see that 0.7 will be dropped from here to here, and similarly 0.7 will be dropped from here to here. So total 0.7 and 0.7. There are two voltages drops. So this will become 1.4. So that is why we have to also subtract that as well. So we will be getting 8.2 volt at that point. We will be getting 8.2 volt at this point. 8.2 volt. Similarly, we have to find the current at this point. So this voltage divided by the resistance. And what is the resistance? The resistance is 33. So if you divide this voltage divided by this resistance, you will get the current at this point. So the current will be equal to 0.25. So now you see we are going to neglect the other transistor and bias currents, which are very small. The total DC current supply is about 0.25 ampere. The power from the DC source will be equal to this 0.25 multiplied by 12 volt. So the power delivered to the load will be 3 watt. So you see that we were the output of the first was 12 milliwatt, and the output of this is basically 3 watt. So if you want to find out the efficiency of the amplifier, you have to divide this P out divided by the PDC. So the P out is 12 milliwatt and the output is 3 watt. So if you divide this, you get 0.04, or you can say 4%. So this is why the class A is not a good choice for a power amplifier. When you always want to amplify something, the maximum percentage is required. This is not a good way or a good methodology or a good result. You are only in taking an efficiency of 4%, which is not a good thing. So that is why it is not acceptable, or you can say it is not encouraged to use class A amplifier, because it does not provide you a high range of efficiency. It only provides you a low range of efficiency. So that's all for today class. I hope that you have learned quite a lot. If you have any questions, I know there will be many more questions which will be there in your mind. So I suggest you to write that down on a white paper, so that in the coming class you are going to ask me. And you know that I become very happy when you ask questions to me, because I believe that the more you ask, the more you learn. Thank you very much. That's all for today. I'll see you in the class. Allah Hafiz.